Hey, how you guys doing? So, I'm gonna do a really quick video on Korean and a few other languages. So, basically, Korean I'm starting with because it's probably the easiest one in terms of the written and even the spoken language. So, there's a good reason for that, and I'm going to just give you guys a little, idea of how easy it is because, for one, the Koreans themselves say that the written language or the Hangul or the Joseongul is easy to learn. They say if you're relatively smart, you can do it in a few days. They say if you're kind of dumb, you can do it in like a week. So the good thing is there's like 40 like written characters that you would have to learn that are called they're called Hangul, like I said, or Joseongul, depending on what North or South Korea. But yeah, they're easy to learn. You know, you pick it up pretty fast, and I don't think it's something that I would have to really get into. But if you guys want a Hangul video, I can totally make that. Um, yeah, just a little bit about Korean, just because it's a it's an East Asian language, obviously, but yeah. So this is interesting. The seven major Korean dialects, generally corresponding to the provincial boundaries, are similar enough to be mutually intelligible. The standard language of South Korea is based on the dialect of Seoul and the surrounding Gyeonggi-do province, while the standard for North Korea is based on Pyongyang. The only Korean dialect which locals find difficult to understand would be the Jeju dialect spoken on the far south island of Jeju-do. Korean is also spoken in parts of northern China, Japan, parts of the former Soviet Union. That's an interesting rabbit hole because you guys know I like talking about Soviet Union stuff, including the Russian Far East and Central Asia, Europe, North and South America, and Australia. Korea has long been coveted by the Chinese, Japanese, Mongolians, and Russians as a channel for cultural exchange, a buffer against invasion, and a staging ground for imperial conquest. These neighbors have had a great impact on the country's history, economy, culture, and language. For example, 70% of all Korean vocabulary is of Chinese origin. And having looked into this, they're not lying about that. It definitely is if you look at the words, and yeah, it definitely is from Chinese. There's strong similarities between Korean and Japanese grammar, possibly a result of migrations between the two countries from over a millennium ago. It's actually interesting to read about the origins of the Japanese and Korean people because they do have some similarities. And this kind of gets into it. Many scholars consider Korean a member of the Altaic language family to be a language isolate. Despite the foreign influences throughout history, the resilient and pragmatic Koreans have managed to maintain their unique cultural heritage, including the Korean alphabet. Korean was originally written using Chinese characters, but King Sejong the Great, considered Korea's finest and wisest ruler, oversaw the creation of a simple and accessible script called Hangul, or like I said, Joseongul. Officially adopted in 1446, Hangul has since been simplified, and each character represents a sound of its own. South Koreans are taught a minimum of 1,800 everyday Chinese characters. That's kind of interesting stuff. Because Japanese has a certain number of daily use characters. However, in North Korea, virtually nothing is written in Chinese characters, as North Korean leaders have systematically replaced many foreign words, even Korean words of Chinese origin with new pure Korean words. That's not totally true. One thing I can say is in the official name of North Korea, there's words of Chinese origin, so it's kind of funny. If they didn't have any words of Chinese origin, they wouldn't have the words for People's Republic or Democratic People's Republic of Korea. So that's basically it. That's a little, a brief overview. I just want to give a little shout out to a YouTuber that I think is kind of cool. Before I, just close this little part out. Stephanie Sue, aka Rotten Mango, she has a really interesting YouTube channel and Spotify podcast. She does way better than me when it comes to this stuff. And she's overall very easy to listen to. Even when it comes to just stuff that would be really horrible and nasty, it's easy to get through just listening to her talk about it. But yeah, she has a knack for storytelling, and I would say go give her a watch. I'm going to link to her channel in the description, But yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about is Chinese, but I didn't want to go directly to Mandarin first because that's kind of boring. So one thing I've kind of had an interest in is Cantonese. So as far as Chinese goes, Cantonese is distinct. It uses traditional characters, and it has an interesting way of handling the spoken language. Traditional characters are easy to look at. They may be a little bit complex, but when it comes to Cantonese, the spoken languages, it sounds nice. I mean, I like the way it sounds when you're watching a movie and you hear Cantonese, or when you're just listening to the language being spoken. It just sounds really good. But Cantonese is used as the official language of Hong Kong, like I mentioned, and Macau. And within China, it's a local language of the mainland's southeast, which is the Guangdong province. It's spoken by immigrant communities worldwide and minority groups in Southeast Asia, most notably in Singapore. For 50 years, official Chinese policy has encouraged use of Mandarin, which is why I haven't wanted to really get into that, at least not in this particular installment. Use of Mandarin as the one national language of China. However, Cantonese speakers have persisted in using their native language, a key part of their pride and cultural identity. Not only is the Cantonese film industry thriving, but opera, theater, literature, and popular music continue to have great local and international success. The Cantonese language is now spoken by over 70 million people worldwide. I gotta say, that's a pretty impressive number. Today's language can trace its history back over 2,000 years to the Qin dynasty. Both Cantonese and Mandarin, its close relative, developed from the same tongue. Cantonese preserves certain intricate elements of Middle Chinese, which Mandarin has lost, such as sophisticated tonal system and sharply clipped consonants at the end of words. Standard Cantonese is based on the language spoken in the city of Guangzhou and colloquially known as Guangdonghua. Its more formal name is Yueyu. Written Cantonese is mostly ideographic, which ties into what I was saying about Chinese characters and how they use traditional. Each symbol represents a concept or an object instead of a sound or syllable. I do intend to do a whole video on Hanzi or Chinese characters, because it's definitely interesting as someone who's made a very valiant attempt at learning Japanese and even Mandarin. It's very interesting to talk about that. This book will help you you're not reading it. If you want to read it, it's a Lonely Planet, Lonely Planet Cantonese. It's really good, so go get it. So yeah, Cantonese is an interesting language. And I wanted to go directly to that one, but Japanese gets a lot of love on this channel. So I really don't need to say too much on that, but oh, before I forget, I do have a Substack. If you guys want to go check that out, I'm going to probably put that and some other things in the description. But yeah, Japanese gets a lot of love on this channel. And it makes a lot of sense because I'm kind of a fan of Japan and Japanese stuff. It's spoken by over 125 million people. While it bears some resemblance to Altaic languages such as Mongolian and Turkish and shows strong grammatical similarities to Korean, linguistic researchers have not been able to prove its origins. Despite the abundance of a clear link, or the absence of a clear link to related languages, there is noticeable influences from non-related languages. There's a lot of English. There's even Portuguese and Spanish in there too. It's a little bit bizarre. But despite this absence of a clear link to related languages, there is noticeable influences from non-related languages. Chinese is not only responsible for the existence of so many Sino-Japanese words in Japanese, but also for the use of the originally Chinese kanji writing characters, which the Japanese use in combination with the indigenous hiragana and katakana scripts. And that's something I've definitely covered before, and I have a whole other channel for Japanese stuff with a whole bunch of resources that you can use to try and learn kanji, hiragana, katakana. So I definitely will put a link to that too. I'm promoting a whole bunch of things today. Trade with several European countries from the 16th until the 19th century has led to the inclusion of some Portuguese and Dutch loanwords. Yeah, I mentioned that, but and since the end of World War II, many loanwords have come from English. That's another thing. So funny, isn't it? Other languages spoken in Japan include Ainu and Ryukyuan, or Ryukyugo. Ainu is unrelated to Japanese and was once spoken in northern Honshu and the islands of Hokkaido and Sakhalin. Today it's sadly on its way to extinction. The Ryukyu language varieties are also quite different from, but still related to Japanese. Some consider them to be dialects of Japanese. Japanese dialects spoken on the main islands can be grouped into Eastern and Western, complete the picture of Japan's three. That's kind of boring, but the Tokyo dialect is the one that most people are familiar with when they start learning the language. Despite appearances, it's not that hard to get a basic grip on the language. Japanese pronunciation is fairly easy to master for English speakers. Unlike some languages in the Asian region, it does not have tones. I definitely appreciate that. It doesn't have tones you gotta learn how to, pitch your voice for. But I just wanted to do an overview on, I guess, a brief smattering of different Asian languages, because I need to get back into the swing of doing this. So, yeah, Japanese is all. I mean, for me, this is fun. I could do this all day. I could do this, and if I could make a living doing this, that would just be awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna see you guys in the next one, and I'll be doing videos on the little ins and outs of different things and how to start learning each of the languages I just described. So I'll see you in the next one.